Hello everybody, welcome to the final episode of the Tamagotchi On series. Today's episode is going to probably be a bit of a weird one, just because, well, the Tamagotchi itself is dead. So, this is a bit of a weird final episode, but I figured we get into some little topics, have a little bit of VPET mail to open up at some point, and then we also have to talk about the poll, well, kind of the weirdness of the poll and how it ended. So, sorry, I'm trying to think of how I want to word that properly. So, yeah, there's quite a few interesting things going on. So, first off, let's talk about the Tamagotchi on itself. So, first off, you may have noticed we kind of missed out on one whole stage, the teenage stage, and by the looks of it, we almost sort of missed out on the adult stage. There's our adult Tamagotchi right there, Alpha G. Sadly, has passed away, though. Just kind of, at this point, sort of a normal thing. I'll be honest, like, Sunday was quite a busy day for me, and by the time I finished or whatever, I was like feeling like overly sick from like just coughing really badly and stuff like that. So this device was already like towards its deathbed. It died like the day after, so I was like, eh. So pretty much like one of those things where it's like, well, Saturday had some things, and then Sunday, more kind of random stuff, and then by the time I'm sort of making this episode, it's kind of weird, but, yeah, I originally had a different episode planned for this, for the original final ending. Didn't like that one, so I kind of just scrapped it, because, I'll be honest, I sounded really gross, and it was just one of those things where it's like, I can't post this. So, of course, the device died, because I wasn't really paying attention to it, but I went over that original episode, and I was like, ooh, no, that is really bad. And I was like, okay, we'll sit down and redo this. So here's a little gravestone. There's a little spirit thing here. I can revive the Tamagotchi if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that, though. As you see, we can always look at Alpha Chi and everything. And it's pretty cool. Overall, I do want to talk about the device here itself, which is the main concept of this kind of being the first color device that I actually kind of like. So, over, like, probably the past few months I've run this channel or whatever, or past year, I guess I could say. Y'all probably know I have a very big disdain for color devices. Usually, they're usually just not that entertaining, and they're usually like lacking a bunch of functions. This device came around, and I'll be honest, actually kind of changed a bit of my perception about color devices. Years ago, I did not like this device when I first ran it back in like 2018 or 2019. Or 2020. Man, I kind of forget. It's been a while. But when I originally ran the stars, I didn't like it. And to be honest, looking at the state of like color virtual pets nowadays, I did not think that it would somehow sort of like magically get worse than it is. Like, not to shame like the uni and like the smart and stuff like that, but like these devices just, like, I don't know, the color devices all have that weird same trend where they're just overly quick. And, like, the whole happiness bar thing is just really bad function in my opinion. And there's just, like, so many other things I just don't like in these color devices. And this one here, it still does have a lot of the same issues, but I did actually enjoy actually a bit of a longer lifespan, the sort of replayability with the whole, like, gender mixing stuff, or not gender mixing, the gene mixing, blah, the whole gene mixing, which I really did enjoy that. I really like the concept of how, like, the Tamagotchis became unique after each level and everything. Like, that's such a cool idea, and it's just so cool to actually have, like, a sort of reason to keep coming back to this device in a way. Because a lot of color devices don't do that. I also enjoyed the idea that you actually had to sort of, like, explore the Tamagotchi world to actually learn about, like, each of the elements in it. So, like, you had to, like, explore the whole concepts of, like, the towns and stuff like that. Accidentally coming across, like, people and characters. Go through the item shops and figure out, like, timing mechanics and stuff like that. It really wanted you to be a part of its own world, which is really cool in my opinion. I really enjoyed that, and it felt like it was so nice to have just so much of this all just contained in one device, and not in like weird parts and everything else, or just like a lack of content. Because like when I ran the Smart and the Uni, they're both very, like, sort of DLC-oriented in a way. I don't know if DLC-oriented would be the right way to describe the Smart, because it uses the whole SD chip function thing or whatever. But, like, they're both very, like, you're basically, like, constantly buying more for a device, because it's just lacking functions or whatever, in a sense. This one does not really lack functions. Actually, there's a lot of content in it, and to be honest, I'll even be coming back to this at some point. Like, if I were managed to get a hold of another on Meets or some or whatever, and this is like one of those things where it's like, I do actually really recommend this. It's such a cool, unique device. Like, there's just so much to do with it, and like, it just feels weird that, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, looking back at it, I remember not liking it at the time, but now I look back at it and I'm like, this is actually really cool, and I kind of feel stupid that I missed out on so much of this device back in the day, just because of, like, the app kind of ruined it. Because the app basically gave, like, easy access to, like, the marriage concepts and stuff like that. Like, it was so easy to avoid some of the stuff because of the app. So it's kind of nice living in a world where the app is now dead in a physical sort of sense. Well, yeah, it's pretty much dead, and now you actually have to sit with the base concepts of the device itself. And overall, it actually really works really well. And it kind of feels weird to be like, why did I miss out on all this content back in the day? Like, I could have enjoyed this way much more than I did now. It's like, or back in the day, I could have, like, enjoyed it way more. So it's, like, kind of sad to look at that in that sort of sense. Overall, though, if anyone ever finds a cheap one of these things, I'm going to say cheap because these things actually apparently go for way much more money than I think they should. Pick one up. I still don't recommend it over a sort of black and white Tamagotchi. I'll be straight up honest. Color devices still have not hit that point for me yet where they seem better than, like, the original devices. Nothing's going to beat out, like, a connection for me. Sorry, y'all. The connections are just really solid, and, like, they're just really fun to sit down and play with. These still have their own issues, but, like, overall, this has been, like, one of the first few times I actually got to really enjoy the concept of the color Tamagotchi, and I'm kind of glad about that. Like, it feels weird to think about it in a sense. So, like, overall, if you're looking for a color device, this would probably be my number one pick. Because I've gone through Color Digimon, Puni Runes, and other color Tamagotchis, and I'll be straight up honest, they're just not that great, usually. Especially for, like, the price they go for, it's like, because these things are always, like, a lot more expensive than, like, the black and white ones, so it's like, I don't really agree with some of the pricing with these things, because they just don't have that sort of content going for them. If you find this one for, like, a decent price, then I say go up for it. This one actually was really enjoyable, finding out all the secrets, and talking to some of the community members about it, and learning, like, it felt like so much more of a communal experience, so it's kind of really nice in a sense. Like, there's just, I don't know, it feels like there's so much to this device, and I'm really hoping that, like, it sort of is kept up with other older ones, like other older color devices that I will be definitely trying now, or the Pix. I am hoping that the upcoming Tamagotchi Paradise is like that in a sense as well, because I really did enjoy a lot of the concepts in this. It just was really nice to, like, have such a fulfilling device. Like, it was the first time, like, I actually sat down with a color device and did something for, like, a really long amount of time, surprisingly. I wasn't dreading it like the Digimon Pendulum colors, or I wasn't getting, like, overly bored with it like the Smart. So it's like one of those things where it's like, yay! And I'm not weirdly having some, like, missing out fears thanks to the Uni, because Uni's weird DLC constant brigade just kind of, like, bothers me in a sense. I don't know. Never been a fan of how the Uni does things, so I guess that's more just on me than anything else. This one was just a very nice departure from that. It's kind of nice to have a device that doesn't rely so much heavily on, like, online perception of things. It's just nice to have a device that can have that access, but you don't need that access, technically. Which I guess you can do with the Uni in some sense, but, like, I don't know. There's just something nice about this. At some point, we'll run the Uni. I will give the Uni another fair shot, because it's been a bit since I've actually ran the Uni, and to be honest, the time when I got my Uni, I still wasn't, like, fully into the whole color thing, so I need to get the Uni one more shot again. But I figure we'll end my conversation of talking about color devices, and I'll just say this one is really good. I do recommend, if you can find it for cheap, get it. Now let's move on to some of the more random stuff here, which is some mail pickups and stuff like that. And let me gonna do one quick thing real quickly. Annabelle, stop that. You know you're not supposed to be doing that. Sorry, yelling at my dog. But, so, now let's talk about Digimail, or Tamamail, or whatever the heck you want to call it. It's not really anything. I guess I could call it Gigamail, to be honest, because it's a Gigafighters. So, picked this up from Mercari. It was, like, really cheap by the time. I've been, like, watching this listing for, like, almost a few years now, which is kind of crazy to think about that. It's just a random listing I've been watching, because I was like, oh, I don't want to pay the original price the seller had it up for, and, like, I finally checked back in on it, and I was like, you know what, it's now, like, at a good enough price that I'll totally take it up, and I did. It's a very interesting device. It basically, for those who don't know, Gigapets is, like, a whole, like, line of virtual pets that was done originally around the same time as Tamagotchi. It was basically like a Tamagotchi clone, but unlike most clones that tried, like, copying directly from Tamagotchi, these devices actually went for sort of their own thing, and this time around, it's called the Gigafighters, because this time around, basically, they were copying Digimon in a sense. Though this way, you can see a few differences, is it actually requires a cable, and these devices had, like, the whole sort of, like, different sounds and everything like that. And, like, they do a bunch of other things that you don't really see in many Bandai devices. So it's kind of cool to look at that. We won't be doing a series on the Gigafighters for a little bit, because I do need one more device. I've been wanting a new in-box copy, though, for one reason, and that's just for the cable. A lot of listings I see never have the cable for these things. So I picked up this one, because it has the cable. Like, you really need this part still. Well, it does say direct connect, which I guess I did not know about that. I don't know. I still want to do cable connection, because I actually prefer a cable, especially if we're, like, going to sit here and actually, like, battle them against each other on, like, thing. Because I don't know if these can be disconnected for, like, video purposes. I'm going to assume not, because, like, the whole cable thing. So, for my video purposes, I wanted the cable, because as you know, I am doing a whole YouTube thing, so that's the joys of that. I guess you don't technically need a cable, huh? The internet has not been that helpful to me. This is the original Tiger Electronics one, by the way, so for those who don't know, Gigapets, or the whole Giga line, was originally done by Tiger Electronics. You might know them for, like, the Tiger Gamecom, or, like, the R-Zone, and their other weird garbage that they used to make. They made a lot of it, y'all. But I do really enjoy some of their latest stuff, like the Giga lines, just because they're so unique and very much different from the other sort of, like, Tamagotchi stuff you see. Now we're going to do a little bit of a segue over to the poll, because, be straight up about that, the poll was weird. Here are the results. And as you may notice from those results, we kind of ended on a tie. So when I ended the poll, it pretty much ended on a tie. When I pretty much went to go back checking on the poll or whatever, it still was tied, so I know people probably might have voted or whatever again on it, like, after the fact, even though I closed the poll. I'm going to say it's a tie, so I figured this time around we'll do something a bit in an interesting sense, and that will be, those two series will be the next two series upcoming. So basically, after we do one of the series, we'll be moving on to the next one. So what I'm going to be doing this time around is we're going to be starting off with the Tamagotchi V5. I'll be honest, I've been wanting to rerun this device for a really long time, especially after how badly the Bunch series kind of went. I've been really wanting to sit down and redo this device, so this will be my chance to sit down and finally go through and redo it. I know that's just pretty much more of a me thing, but I really wanted to go back, really wanted to do this device properly, so we'll be doing that. So the next series up will be the Tamagotchi V5 series, and for those of you who did vote on the Gigapets Cryptid, it will be the next series. It literally will be the next series after this one. So you don't have to wait long for some Gigapet action. It will pretty much be readied up for there. So don't be whatever impatient or whatever about it. Or I guess you can't be impatient. I don't know. Y'all can be whatever. But first I'm going to run the V5, and then I'm gonna sit down and run the cryptids device after that. So get ready for these cryptid boys or girls, whatever terminology. But yeah, get ready for these wonderful cryptids at some point. This will happen, like I said, just right after the Tamagotchi V5 series. This has been a sort of want for me to run for a bit. Same with the cryptids device, but this one is just kind of taking a little bit more preference because I've learned so much about these devices over like the past few like months and stuff like that I've learned how much stuff I missed. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go back and do everything I missed out on, because whoa, I did not realize how much stuff I missed out on these devices. Like, I didn't realize how poorly I did bonding and stuff like that. Mainly because I was trying to run 2 devices at once, and that was a really bad idea. I should not have done that. But that ends the series right now. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you all next time with the Tamagotchi V5. So, I'll see you there. And sorry for the late episode. I didn't really mean for it to be so late. I was just kind of sick, and now I'm finally getting over whatever gross sickness it was. And for those of you wondering about like the videos that are lost, I'm not posting them. They're really gross. I literally was like coughing continuously. It was bad. I really should not have been like making videos. I should have like popped out the batteries in this device and waited like 2 days and then made the video. Like, if anyone watched that other D3 video, the second one I posted, y'all probably heard like the starting of it, and where my voice just sounded really, really bad. Basically, the next day after that, it got way worse. And then the day after that, another was like, ugh. So, those episodes won't get posted, just because they're not good. I coughed pretty much like every 10 seconds. It was bad. But that's pretty much all to say for now. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you all next time. And, if anyone wants me to grab a specific Gigafighter, by the way, please tell me down below, because now I'm just going to be looking for like an out-of-box unit one, because I just wanted the cable for this guy. That's the main reason why I picked up a sealed unit. My main goal is to see if I can try getting the Mortal Kombat one, but if anyone wants me to grab like the Men in Black one, or like the WWF, or like Batman, just tell me whatever. I really don't care. Actually, I'm a big fan of like the random Batman ones and Mortal Kombat, and to be honest, I find the Men in Black one funny. So it's like, y'all can pick whatever y'all think would work. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye bye.